Welcome back to the Central Podcast. This is episode 5. You're here with your hosts, Danny Grazanzio and Joey Maldonado. Joey, tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. I'm excited to get this episode rolling. And to start off, I think we're going to talk about the National League Central and the standings. And there's been a lot of crazy things going on with a lot of different teams and a lot of different scenarios. And so we're going to really break that down. And we're going to do an interesting segment later on throughout the podcast where we're actually going to talk about an interesting story throughout each team. And it can be like a fun fact, it can be something that a normal fan probably would never hear of. And I'm excited to really get into that segment.
Yeah, if you're hearing Joey's bitch voice, it's probably because he was yelling at the refs last night when the Bucks lost. So please
Yeah,
excuse
I
his
was.
weakness.
Yeah, I was at the Milwaukee Bucks game where Jimmy Butler decided to hit a shot that I don't think I've ever seen in an NBA game before, and there's a lot of words coming out of my mouth yesterday. We can put it at that.
Joey, why don't we head into the standings right now for the NL Central? Why don't you take that?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the fucking obvious one. I mean, holy
Yeah.
shit, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 18 and fucking 8, and they're 9 and 1 in their last 10 games.
Are they
What
the
the
best team of the
fuck?
division, Joey?
They're playing like it. I mean, dude, and again, I know we always say like May's kind of when you can really start to do it. I mean, they might be making a point that they might be top 3 in the division. Like it's
I think we're past that. They're definitely top 3 in the division. I think
no,
they're
no, no,
better
no.
than
But
the
I'm saying
Cardinals
at
and
the
the
end of the
Cubs.
year.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay,
s- no, no, no. I'm saying at the end of the year. No, no, no. Well,
okay.
yes, right now they're the best team right now in the National League Central. But no, I mean, it's starting to become. I mean, and maybe the Pirates owner will realize, holy shit, I should spend some fucking money. And now on my
They
MLB
did.
feed, I'm seeing, yeah, that's true. Brian Reynolds. How
That
much was
that
that
came out of
contract? It
nowhere.
was
It was 108 for 8 years, I believe, which
it's a
I think
good.
he could have
That's
gotten
cheap.
more. Yeah. I think if he went to the Yankees, we're talking like 150 for like 5 or something. Like I'm a little confused by that, but
Dude, it's always funny when you hear people talk about like you only took 100 million. Like, all right, if you had someone telling you could get $100 million right now in your fucking face, let's not lie and say you're gonna be greedy and ask for like
yeah.
200, 300. Like, I hate that so much. Like, oh, he only got that. Like,
I
nah,
was kind of a
like
culprit of that for Hap, to be honest, because I genuinely think Hap deserves more, but he did it to stay in Chicago, so I completely understand.
right. And bro, at that point when you're getting like above like $50 million, like
That's life,
there's no
man.
way I'm
That's it.
saying no. There's no way I'm saying no. I could be worth $300 million, and if someone offered me like 50 million, I'd be like, all right, where's let me sign it like right now. But no, seriously, I mean, the Pirates look good. I mean, maybe
Mm.
I keep seeing all over my feed where like it's like Aaron Judge in a Pirates uniform, Correa in a Pirates uniform. Like I saw one with Nico Horner in a Pirates uniform.
Hey, all right, chill,
Um,
chill, chill.
But it's funny. I'm curious if the Pirates will actually, instead of sell at the deadline, if they'll actually buy or at least stay the same. And if you're a Pittsburgh fan listening in, I'm sure you dread the trade deadline every single fucking year.
I hope for Pirates fans just in general that they can stay at least relatively relevant until the trade deadline. Because if they drop off, I swear the owners are going to be like, "Oh, we are going to win the World Series, but now we're not going to do anything. So we're going to actually this deal we just had with Brian Reynolds, we're just going to get rid of him at the deadline." like,
Dude, I could see that where they're just like, ah, sorry guys, like I guess I don't got to pay anybody this year at the
yeah.
deadline.
I was
Um,
watching
nope.
something crazy that did you know the Padres had like 40% or something, or no, it was like 25% of like all payout this year, like in the MLB.
Holy shit, I didn't even think about all those big contracts. I mean, you got Juan Soto, Manny Machado, uh, Tatis,
All all
uh,
of those are over. All the ones we're gonna say are over
Bogarts.
20 mil a year. So all those Joey just said, Joe Musgrove as well as over 20 mil, and there was one more I can't remember. Is it Hater? Is Hater making over
No,
20 mil a
I
year?
no, I don't think so. He's making like
Oh,
10 or 15, but I don't think he's making 20. But
I think there's
I
one
mean,
more,
that's
but
just
that's like 300% more than most teams are paying their entire team. Like,
oh, Cronenworth.
Cronenworth's making 20 mil a year? No
He's
shot.
making good money.
I mean, yeah, but he's
Uh,
right Cronenworth, dude. Like, did you hear?
Hold on, let
Did you
me
hear?
look up his contract.
Oh,
Seven
fucking
year,
do
80
that.
million. I mean, it's not 20 mil a year.
Whoa, not 20 mil. Okay, but just the fact that they have probably like 6 or 7 guys in the teens too.
Yeah,
Like I don't even know. Is
it's
you
fucking
making
ridiculous.
20 a year? You might be up
Oh,
there.
yeah, that might be the last one.
Yeah.
All right, fucking enough Pirates talk for now. Let's
That
let's
was
talk
just
about the Milwaukee
the
Brewers.
Padres, dummy. Oh,
Jesus
that's Christ.
Christ.
Okay.
I'm lost, man. It's 9 o'clock. It's my bedtime, you know.
He's an old man.
Um, no, but I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers have kind of fallen down to earth again, and unfortunately, Garrett Mitchell is going to be out for probably the end of the season. Maybe we'll come back September, which really kind of put a dampener in Milwaukee's hot streak. But I mean, some of their guys. I mean, Brian Anderson's still playing really fucking well. Is a
Mm.
player that you just wouldn't expect. Joey Wiemer is playing more consistent now. Yelich is ass. Um, Corbin's finally playing good again. Freddie had another good outing. I mean, they're looking more consistent and more of what I expect. But I mean, it's still super early, and I'm hoping we'll see a Sal Frelick call up in the next couple months here. But he also just got hurt, so we'll
Yeah.
probably have to pause and wait for that for a while.
I know we talked about the Pirates, but if we take out the Cubs, uh, getting absolutely shit on by the Dodgers. By the way, the Dodgers all of a sudden were like, "Hey, we're pretty much the best team in the league playing the Cubs." They literally hit like 400 against us, which is so frustrating because our pitching like actually looked good. Also, we almost threw a perfect game against them. Are we just gonna skip over that? Like,
Oh
do
yeah,
you want to do
Drew
MVPs for the
Smiley.
week? Because I think it's pretty obvious who the fucking MVP of this week is. I mean, unless you're a stupid
Yeah,
idiot.
Freddie Peralta.
I mean, that was one of the most dominant games I've ever seen. I think I got in an argument in our stupid group sports chat where it was like, uh, they were talking about the difference between, oh shit, no, I can't think of his name.
Drew
Uh,
Smiley.
um, Alec
Oh,
Mills, dude. Fucking, I always
Alec
forget
Mills.
my own pitcher's name. What was more impressive, Alec Mills' no hitter a couple years ago or 3 years ago, or Drew Smiley's almost perfect game? And I was under, I'm in the realm of argument where I say Drew Smiley's perfect game is more impressive. He didn't finish it, but the bat on ball percentage was like the lowest in like years for just pitching in general. The hardest ball hit off the bat was 85 miles an hour, is a line drive to right field. Like, when's the last time that's ever happened in a fucking game? Like, that's
Damn.
ridiculous. He had the best command I've ever seen. He's clearly the MVP this week. I mean, Joey, if you want to try to argue someone else, go for it, but fuck off if you do.
I don't have the energy to argue this week, so I'm just gonna agree with you. And no, I mean seriously though, he's super dominant. I mean, how is that not gonna be the player of the week when you're throwing almost a no hitter and what was it, one hit? I'm assuming. And how many innings did he pitch? Like seven, eight, nine.
He did 7 2/3 because
Okay.
he ended up getting pulled at the end of the eighth. He struck out the next batter and then Rossi pulled him.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but yeah, one hit.
yeah. And the
um,
Cubs are starting to kind of level out to kind of like where they'll probably be in like two or three, my opinion. And
they have the
um,
most shutouts in the league this year.
True. I'll actually, for once, and this is a rare thing for those who are listening to the podcast, give the Cubs a little bit of flowers. They're playing a lot better than I thought they were going to play this year. So
They
maybe,
2-1 the Padres. That's exactly what you guys did.
yeah. No, we 3-1 them, bitch. One more
Oh
game.
wow, you're so cool. But yeah, but we swept the A's, so who's really better?
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, we
um,
just lost a fucking series to shitty ass Javier Baez, so I don't really know how to feel about my team right now.
did he play well? I didn't even watch those games.
Dude, yes. He had a hit in at least the first two games.
Oh, what a beast! Yeah, yeah. Him play well is just one hit in the game.
I mean, yeah. If he got like 2 hits a series, I mean, that's probably better than what he's in right now.
Joey, when are we going to talk about? When are you going to come around to what's it going to take for Nico Horner to be the best second baseman in the league for you? Is it what he's
Dude,
doing right now?
I saw a poll the other day, and it was the best second baseman in the NL, and it was him and Ozzy Albies. And I kid you not, it was, and it was this was it had 900, each had over 900 votes, and it was 50-50. And LB's had two more votes. It was like
Dude,
986 to like 984, and I was like,
that's the
holy shit.
dumbest. It's not. Who's the guy from Miami? He's the only one that can contend.
Jazz.
No, 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 no.
Miami.
Huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He's
Arias?
hitting like 400. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, he's a
okay, never
terrible
mind.
defender,
I
but
was like,
okay, that is the
no.
dumbest thing I've ever. Joey, Ozzy Albies is hitting 268. Come on, that's
Oh, you're talking to the wrong
garbage.
person about average. But no, Nico's playing better right now. I'll agree with Nico playing better. But
Yeah, he's the best player on the Cubs, dude. Like,
yeah,
I
I
love
agree
how
with that right
like
now.
people way. I love Dansby, and I'm so happy he has a hot start. But he's leveling out now to what his production should be. You know, he's hitting about
Yeah,
290. He hit his first home run today, which took a while. Honestly, I was a little worried about it. But people were like, "Oh, Dansby's the best player on the Cubs." Like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I've been saying from the beginning of the year it's going to be, Nico, and I'm right. I mean, I sounded crazy at the beginning of the season, and I'm starting to look a little less crazy. You know,
yeah.
just
I
saying.
mean, it's still April.
True, but with his production, he started under 300, and he has climbed above 250 or 350 now. He's only getting better as the season goes on.
Right.
Just saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough about
All
Nico
right.
Horner
Enough.
being the best
Yeah.
player in the world.
Yeah. Enough of your shitty Cubs. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds. They're on a 3-game win streak right now. 10-15. I mean, they're
Who'd they play
still
this week?
fourth. I mean, that's honestly a good question. Let me see. I just want every Cardinals fans to know that your team is dog shit.
Oh, I love it.
While I look this up.
Love it.
Um,
I bet on the
yeah,
Cardinals this
if
week. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. I was like, oh, they'll probably win. I didn't even remember who it was against.
they they swept the Rangers.
The Reds
Wow.
swept the Rangers?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, actually, we lost the Rangers.
The Rangers have had a good start this year.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
good series
Those are
win.
some good wins.
Shout out the
Did
Reds, and then do you want? Is there anything to say about the Reds? I mean, I honestly don't know.
To be honest with you, I didn't. I usually try to watch a few games from each team. I wasn't able to watch any Reds games this week.
Yeah. Sorry,
I don't have
Cincinnati.
any.
We're kind of slow, if that's the word you want to
Usually,
use.
usually on our on the pod, we're gonna go through each team statistically too. But we wanted to try something new this week where we're just gonna do some stories as well. So we're not gonna specifically talk about guys who were standout in each team. But honestly, I'm sure it was Jonathan India. I mean, I don't even need to look. Like, I'm sure he went like 10 for 25 or something with like 2 home runs.
Or Spencer Steerman.
Oh
Spencer
yeah,
Steer's
he's
a
he's
dog.
he's got that NL Rookie of the Year on lock at this point. I don't even care. It's like a weekend.
He's a dog.
He's good.
Dude, uh the wait, I want to look this up. The Cardinals have not won a series since the 10th, or I guess the 12th technically, of April, and that was against the Rockies. They lost, or no, they split a series with the Pirates 2-2. They lost a series versus the Diamondbacks 1-2. They lost a series versus the Mariners 1-2. They lost a series versus the Giants 1-3.
They lost the
Damn.
Giants 1-3.
Yeah,
Boy,
that's
that
embarrassing.
is
The
fuck the
Diamondbacks are a good
Cardinals,
team,
man.
and so
Yeah.
I guess the Mariners and the Giants are good teams, but like they should at least be splitting. Like they should
Well, if
split
if
the
if
Giants.
we're 2-1ing Mariners, or you swept the Mariners, we 2-1 them.
Yeah, we threw out their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
All right, relax. Robbie Ray didn't even pitch against you guys. I don't want to fucking hear
that's fine.
it.
Um,
I mean,
yeah, I
there's not
mean
even a need to
overall,
talk about them right now. They need to have a serious turnaround before the All Star break before we can even consider them an actual contender for this division. It's pathetic.
yeah, I mean all I gotta say is the NL Central is looking like the powerhouse of the NL, baby.
It kind of is, dude. There's 3 potential playoff teams in our division. It's been
Yeah,
years. It's been
and
years.
it's crazy. The the team with the worst has the best offense, like in terms of player skill set,
Cardinals. Well, the
which
Reds are
is kind
still
of
under
crazy.
them in record, right?
No, the Reds are fourth. The Cardinals are fifth.
Wait, really? I didn't even look at the record.
Yeah, the Reds are 10-15. The Cardinals are 10-16. They play additional game, but I mean, still,
Yeah,
you're 10-16.
right.
Sorry, shit out of luck. Like, I mean,
I I am so happy that this is how the season has started. Just
Think about, we
wonderful.
start an NL Central podcast and then the teams play well, man. I'd like to take credit for
That
all of
is
those wins.
us. We should be in the credits after the season. Roll credits. Whoever
Yeah.
wins NL Central, it should have the Central pod up there.
The 5 people that know us, they'll be like, good job, NL Central or the Central
Yeah,
podcast. You guys really helped the shitty ass Pirates and Reds
right. To all of
fucking
our
win some games.
fan out there.
All right,
All right,
Danny,
Joey.
let's dive into some of these stories. I mean, you want to
You
go
want to dive
first
in,
with
Joey? Is that what you want to do?
kind of.
You want me to go first? I got some good ones.
Yeah, I do. I mean, that
All
is
right,
what I
Joey.
asked.
Are you in charge? This
I mean, I kind of just took charge of this role, apparently.
okay. I guess I'm Joe's bitch for the day. I'm gonna talk about. We're both gonna do, or Joe's gonna do two stories. I'm gonna do three because I'm way smarter than and more good looking than him. But
Sure.
my first story is about Rick Ankiel, a guy that most real baseball fans actually know about. And I'm saying most because Joey had never heard of him because he's not a real baseball fan, even though he has a baseball podcast. And
That's facts.
Rick Ankiel, I have basically all these notes to my left. I'm gonna be looking over here. All you YouTube fans out there, I have so much stuff written down about this. So Rick Ankiel has a special place in my heart because I loved watching him pitch against the Cubs when I was like 2 years old. He only had one season, actually. I'm going to get further into that. I'm being very confusing right now. His nickname on Baseball Reference is Rick the Stick, and he's a pitcher. Want to know why? He was a pitcher who turned into a hitter, and I have more on that. So his career stats to start, he has a 9.1 WAR, pretty average MLB career. I'd say below average, if anything. He hit 240, and he had a 302 on base percentage and a .724 OPS, which is pretty average, if not a little, like maybe a little bit above, maybe
Yeah.
Um, so Rick Ankiel was drafted as a pitcher. I'm going to talk about a little bit of his early life to set the stage a little bit. So in 1997, he went 11-1 as a high school pitcher with a ERA of .47. He struck out 162 hitters in 74 innings. He was the 1997 High School Player of the Year, and he was the number one pitcher in his draft class. Mind you, I say pitcher, not hitter. He never hit. He was a PO. He was drafted right out of high school to the Cardinals. In his first minor league season, he won the Best Pitcher Award for two separate minor league leagues, the Carolina and the Midwest Farm Leagues. And he won the best minor leaguer in the Cardinals organization for that league, and he posted 222 strikeouts throughout his first professional career playing in multiple leagues. In 1999, he won the Minor League Player of the Year for both Baseball America's Award and USA Today's in Double-A. He was the number one baseball prospect heading into his rookie season. Okay, so we're not talking about some scrub who barely made it up, and finally got his debut in the majors. More on that one later. But this guy was, we're talking front page of Sports Illustrated. Like this guy was a dog. He was dominating as a pitcher throughout the minors, and the Cardinals called him up. They called him up in the middle of the 1999 season, where he posted 33 innings with a 3.27 ERA, 39 Ks, and only 14 walks. Very respectable for a rookie getting called up close to October on a good team. He was pitching well, and they ended up getting knocked out of the playoffs that year. But in 2000, it was his official rookie year, and Keel played amazing. He had, for a rookie, I'd say probably he had an ERA of 3.5 with 194 strikeouts with an 11-7 record on 30 starts, and he finished second in NL Rookie of the Year voting. So this is where the Cardinals go into the postseason in 2000. Okay, you're a rookie. You just went 11-7 with a 3.5 ERA. You're like, you know what? I feel great. We're heading to the postseason. Wouldn't you be pretty confident going into the postseason?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'm asking you, Joey.
That's why I said yeah.
I wrote, this is where it all fell apart, and it really did. Rick Ankiel got the start because of a couple injuries. I don't know who were the other starters on the Cardinals in 2000, but he wasn't the number one that season, obviously. But he got the start in game one, and the manager who made that call was good old Tony La Russa. Okay. The absolute god of a coach for the Cardinals in that time, and uh, he threw two great innings to start the NLDS. A rookie in his prime, he's playing great. Third third inning, he threw five wild pitches in a row. It's one of the most famous clips, I think, in recent baseball history. Five pitches, five wild pitches, where he was promptly pulled. And they went on to lose that game against the Braves. Next game, game two of the NLDS, still in his rookie season, they put him back in the game in relief. Does the exact same thing. Throws five again straight wild pitches, all past the catcher. These aren't just like way outside. Five straight wild pitches. La Russa pulls him again, and that was it for Rick Ankiel. He got sent down to AAA the next season after literally winning second or going second in NL Rookie of the Year voting. By the end of the next season, the 2001 season, Joey, he was in rookie ball. He went all the way from AAA to rookie ball. He was playing so poorly. He
Holy
could not throw a strike.
Jesus.
Ladies and gentlemen who don't really know a ton about baseball, welcome to the yips. I'm going to give a little psychology session on the yips. The yips is basically, or are basically just any sort of feeling in baseball where you feel like you don't have it. I guess it doesn't have to be baseball. It happens to kickers in the NFL or,
Gymnastics.
huh?
Gymnastics. I know Simone Biles like
Gymnastics. Yeah.
suffered.
It's just it's your mentality and not feeling like you can be successful, therefore you are not going to be successful. It's the most common in baseball. It happens to second basemen all the time. I can't remember. There were two really famous ones. I can't remember their names, but you see guys that are gold glovers, all of a sudden they can't make the throw to first base, and it's like you literally can't physically do it. Your mind is blocking you. And it's like actually in the DSM, which is hilarious. The DSM is basically like an accumulation of all like mental disorders, and it's in there. So like therapists and psychologists all come together and try to help people with the yips. That's why teams have sports psychologists. Rick Ankiel had the yips. He go for second in NL Rookie of the Year voting, all the way down to college or rookie ball. That is 4 leagues underneath the MLB, ladies and gentlemen. That means he was demoted 4 times from the
I don't
MLB.
think I've ever heard of that.
And I think I recently showed you the clip of him having, you know,
Yeah, you did.
it's pretty bad. And that was the first time he did it twice in a row, 2 days in a row. And it screwed up Rick Ankiel's career so much. I mean, there's a quote I saw recently where Rick Ankiel was saying, "I was so nervous because I never started in a playoff game, let alone played in one." And La Russa was just like, "Hey, get out there! You're starting game one." He never even played on national television before because games at that point were only locally broadcasted,
Right.
other than the playoffs. So, and La Russa said, I think I saw something about that being his biggest regret as a manager, was throwing a kid out there like to the wolves, and it like he personally blames himself. This was years ago, so I don't know if La Russa still thinks that. I mean, but he's senile at this point. But um, I mean, he quite literally contributed to ruining this kid's career. He was. I mean, a 3.5 ERA as a rookie. That's something, Max Fried probably threw that, as a rookie, a lefty, and like you can really see success in the future. 194 strikeouts as a rookie, 11-7.
Damn. Holy
That's
shit.
good. That's really good for a rookie
Yeah.
pitcher who's never started a game before out of high
194.
school. Yeah.
Wow.
Um. So, anyways, you see this guy's down in rookie ball. You're like, end of that. Poor guy. That stinks. He's probably gonna end up working at Walmart. A few years later, Joey and Keel. Well, he actually okay. I'm wrong. And Keel did make it back up to the majors because he had sort of a comeback, but he posted 5.4 ERA in relief and got sent right back down. Went all the way down to Double A, and in Double A, this is where he thought, you know what, I'm gonna hit. Don't know why. Apparently, he was a decent hitter in high school, even though he was a PO. But he was so determined that he became a hitter, and that flip in his head somehow allowed him to be successful. And he finally made it up to AAA, being a DH. Actually, he wasn't even playing defense. He hit 267 in AAA with 32 home runs and 89 RBIs through July in one season. Yeah, he 32 home runs through July in AAA.
That's fucking
So
nuts.
yeah, so the Cardinals pulled him up. This is 2007 again. Cardinals called him up. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. Play center field for us because we know you have a cannon. He threw very hard as a lefty. He threw, I think, 97 was his average fastball. Um, and for the rest of that season, so after July, in the bigs, I mean, he's a pitcher, remember, a PO. He hit 285 with 11 home runs and 39 RBIs and slugged 535 in just 47 games. That was his first season in the bigs.
Yep.
Um, and I think I showed Joey a couple clips, and for any of you listening, you should go watch some of his defensive highlights. He was like what Jim Edmonds was when he was young, like literally fast. Like I don't know where this athletic like build came from. All of a sudden, he was just fast as fuck, making diving plays, and he had a cannon because he was a pitcher. There are some amazing clips of him throwing out runners from like deep warning track, to third base, just like lasers. You look up those videos, like best throws of all time. He's in there like 5 or 6 times. Um, and of course, this is when the MLB suspected steroid use. And thank God, and I'm praying this is true. Nothing was found. Um, that would kind of be a dampener of the story. But overall, I mean, just to finish up the story, he didn't exactly turn into a star, but he was an everyday center fielder for the Cardinals for a while. He played left for a little while. He also played right. And after 3 years playing for the Cardinals, he got traded to the Braves, and he played in the NLDS. I can't remember what year was it. Was this 2011 for the Braves? He played against the Giants in the NLDS. Or no, that would be the NLCS then. I'm all over the place. The story is sporadic as fuck, but um, they were playing the Giants in the playoffs. How about that, guys? He and one other player are the only players to ever hit a home run into McCovey Cove in the postseason. Can you guess who the other player is?
Ooh, Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds, exactly. So you're talking about a pitcher only in high school, and Barry Bonds are the only players to ever hit a ball out of the stadium in the playoffs in the Giants Stadium. How cool is that? Love it.
Yeah, that's a flex.
Yeah. And there are only two players in MLB history, and this is before Otani now. Two players in MLB history with over 200 strikeouts in their career and 75 home runs as a batter. It's Babe Ruth and Rick Ankiel.
Yep.
So truly one of the most unique stories in baseball. He slowly faded. He turned into a bit of a role player. Traded time with Colby Rasmussen, I think his name was. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I've
Played a
heard the
little bit
name.
of defense. But I think he hit like 230 consistently for his last few years, and he retired in 2013, I believe, was his last stint with the Mets. Um, but wow, what a crazy story, right? You're a great pitcher, and you go all the way down to rookie ball, and you're like, I'm done, right? I can't throw a strike. What do you do? And you pick up a bat. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's damn. That's fucking. I can't even imagine just being like, you know what, like maybe I'm just gonna hit today and see how it goes, and then end
Yeah,
up it being your career.
right. And to be fair, his neck got pretty big. And for those of you who know
Get it?
baseball, you look at pictures of Barry Bonds before and after steroids, you know what I'm talking about. But you know what? I'm gonna give this guy a break.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's a cool story, and it's one I honestly never heard of before you telling it to me. So I appreciate
Yeah,
you giving me, I mean,
you're
something
welcome for
useful
enlightening you.
coming out of your mouth. Um,
For those of you out there,
so
genuinely, there are cool like mini documentaries about Rick Ankiel. So you guys should go watch it. It's a cool baseball story.
yeah,
But
check it
Joey,
out.
now I'll let you talk now if you want.
Oh, so I'm going to talk about something a little bit more relevant, with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's going to be, I mean,
That
Drew
sounded like such
Maggi.
a diss, by the way. You're irrelevant.
I mean, yeah, fucking, you kind of are. It's okay. My other stories are fucking way back when. Um, so I just want to talk about Drew Maggi. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Drew Maggi, was a player who played in the minor leagues for 13 years, which
Beast.
is fucking ridiculous. I mean, just to think about it. Uh, I mean, think about how many players quit. Like seriously, like he was drafted in the 15th round out of Arizona State, and fucking
It's 2010,
he's
I think.
33 years old now. I mean, imagine being a 20-year-old kid thinking, okay, like I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. I'm gonna make it to the big leagues. I'm gonna be here in like 4 or 5 years, right? No, unless you're a fucking god, you go in like 2 or 3. But most players probably takes 4 years. And fucking being there till you're 33 years old, fucking ridiculous. I mean, I was looking it out to how many games, um, like how many full seasons it would be, because he played in over 1,154 games in the minors, which is more than 7 full MLB seasons, which is fucking nuts. It's just, and for him to really play in the big leagues, and it sucked. He was actually called up once before, actually in 2019. He was called up for Minnesota, but he
Mm.
never made an appearance.
Yeah, they were like
Um,
losing the game, and everyone was like calling for him to get in the game, and the manager didn't let him. I saw something about
yeah,
that. So fucked up.
I don't I don't understand the point of like, especially when you know like, okay, let me bring one of these like one. A manager's got to know when you bring a young guy. Okay, like let him get him at least one at bat. Like at some point in the series. Like I get it if it's a close game, like like you need every game. I understand that, but fucking come on, man. Like play the guy. Like give him an at bat. Like it's not that much to ask for one at bat. Like you're probably a shitty manager anyway. Like just let the guy fucking hit. Like so I just thought that was really cool, and unfortunately he struck out, but I saw something. He said something like it was the best like strikeout, or like it was his
Yeah.
favorite strikeout that he's ever had or something like that.
Did you watch the at bat
Um
though?
I saw parts of it, like I couldn't remember like detail by detail,
He had a
but
he, it was a good at bat. It was a I mean it was like 5 or 6 pitches, and he like slammed the first pitch. It was like a liner down the left field line. It was foul.
yeah.
Bummer.
No, it's crazy. He
Hmm.
was called up from Double A, not even from Triple A, which is
He was in
kind of
Double A.
unusual. Yeah,
Oh
dude,
no,
his
that's
he had 44 he had 4,494 plate appearances in the minors. And I just wanted to pull up some of his stats here because I thought it was just really cool to fucking see. So he played in A ball in 2010. Then in 2011, he was playing in full A. Then he finally in 2013 got brought up to, or no, 2012 got brought up to double A. Played in double A for till 2016. 2016, he's in triple A. Then he gets kind of like a brought down situation. Um, in actually this year he gets brought down, um, and then gets called up the season. So I mean, talk about a fucking roller coaster. Go from high A to triple A to being, or to double A to being in triple A for, let's see, 2016 to fucking last year. I mean, 6 7 years. Like I'd be itching at the fact like just give me one at bat. I just want one
right.
major league at bat to say that I've made the major leagues. Like, and
For those
I
of
mean to
you
be
who
honest,
don't, can I cut you in real quick, just to give some
yeah, you're good.
context?
Go ahead.
For those of you who don't know, MLB players are saying like, oh, 100 mil, 200 mil, popping off. I mean, even like the guys who barely make the roster are making a million a year. Uh, basically, before very recently, MLB players were making less than minimum wage to be professional baseball players, and they would only be paid during the season. So guys would be paid about what was it, like 25,000 a year to be
It's
in.
it's something. It was barely livable, and minor league
Mhm.
players always talk like it's as hard to make a living. And I don't know what he did,
He
if
must
he
have had
had
another
like a
job.
side hustle or something.
Yeah, he.
Yeah,
There's no way you last that long. It's basically like they're basically saying if it's basically to push people out. It's like if you don't make it, you're gonna have to eventually get another job. You can't survive on that. You can't have a family.
I mean, like, dude, like, how do you like? You just can't. It's just ridiculous. I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm happy that the MLB is looking into that a lot more. And shout out the MLBPA because that's something that should have been addressed a long
Uh,
time ago. Um, which is crazy to think about. I mean, you want elite talent, pay your minor leaguers. I mean, that's where your talent's coming from. Like, I don't know.
it's just gonna
Um,
come from Japan now. Honestly,
I mean, that kind of
these
is like
guys
the
are
feeder
crazy.
system now, where it's like,
Yeah,
um, but
Japan
yeah, I
and
mean,
DR.
yeah, yeah, I mean, damn near. But I mean, for his career, I mean, so he had an average of 254 throughout the minors. He had an underwhelming OPS of 697. Um, he had 355 RBIs throughout his career.
Whoa,
46 home runs.
that's not a lot at all. Oh man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I mean, respectfully, I understand why he was in the minors, but still a cool story. I mean,
Yeah,
for every kid that ever plays baseball growing up, I mean, to make it to the big leagues, and it doesn't even matter, man. Get one at bat. I mean, I can't imagine, and it was in PNC too, right?
it was. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was in PNC. That's, I mean, in what I believe to be the coolest ballpark I've ever seen.
easily.
Um,
We
I
got to do
mean,
that. We
it's
gotta we gotta list our
such a
favorite
cool. Yeah, I guess a
ballparks.
little preview for, um, but I
Sheesh.
mean, and you got the pinch hit for. I mean, you got the pinch hit for Andrew fucking
For
McCutcheon.
for Kutch, yeah.
Like that's such a cool like I pinch hit for one of the greatest Pittsburgh Pirates to ever play the game. Like to just think about that for a second and be like, holy shit, like that's insane. Like, and it was so cool. I saw the video of him. It was on Twitter, I think, of when he got called up and like everyone he like is like going around him and everything, and he's just like in shock. Like, I finally got called up. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. I think I saw
Um,
something about him already going back down.
damn. He got his moment, man. I mean, be happy. You made the fucking majors. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
flex
his name's
in its own.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
He was just saying like that's kind of what he was saying. He was like thinking the flex, I guess, was like, oh yeah, I played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like even you see a random guy down the street, like he was a major leaguer. Like I don't know.
he's got his baseball
Um,
reference tag or whatever.
yeah.
I would
Um,
flex the shit out of that, dude. I flex my high school
oh, I
stats
know
still,
you would.
dude.
Oh, oh, I know you do.
I flex my fielding percentage daily with Joey.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Dan,
I'm tempted to get my bat out right here to just show everyone my swing. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
Jesus
think you
Christ.
want to get roasted in the comment section.
Oh, I'm sure
Um,
people know so much about baseball in the comment section. We've had so much experience with
hey,
that.
I trust our fans more than anything.
Yeah, the guy saying what's it called? Uh, fucking Hunter Green is the best player in the NL Central.
Oh, that's right.
We should get that guy on the
Yeah,
podcast. He's probably like 12.
oh yeah. Let's talk about your fucking Chicago Cubs. Tell me a story.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but we're terrible at introducing things. We're doing it like team by team, so we have 5 stories total. We're not always going to do that, but we just thought it would be good to start. This story is going to be a long one. I need everyone to put their seatbelts on. You're going to be very bored or very entertained, depending on how you feel about Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux, Mad Max, is, in my opinion, the greatest pitcher of all time. That is definitely a hot take. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people who disagree with that, but there are plenty of people who also agree with that. I don't think you could really look at these stats and not be completely blown away. I think, if not the best pitcher of all time, he's the most unique pitcher of all time. And I know we talked about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where his best season, he only had 4 home runs given up for the whole year. That's kind of the story of Greg Maddux. And I'll get into his stats more in a second here, but I'm going to talk more about his stories because if anyone's familiar with Chuck Norris, when you do 5 push-ups, or when Chuck Norris does 5 push-ups, he's pushing the world down. He's not, pushing himself up. Shit like that. That is literally some of the stories that Greg Maddux has around him. It's like these uh, almost like fake stories that are true that people are like how or Bo Jackson-esque stories, which I personally am a huge fan of. So I'm just going to go through a couple of them, but first I want to talk about Greg Maddox's career stats, just so everyone knows how dominant he really was and why I think he's the greatest pitcher ever. So he's a career WAR all time of 106.6, so one of the best. Very, very good. He has a career ERA of 3.16. And that might not sound especially great to the naked ear, I guess. But that includes about 7 or 8 seasons of him pitching subpar because he played way longer than he probably should have. And that is still an elite career number to have. He has a career whip of 1.143. And I want everyone to listen to these ERA numbers from 1992 to 1998. These were his ERAs. Okay, I'm gonna list them off. And Joy, I want to hear a little bit of commentary from this from you. Gosh, I can't talk. So from 1992 to 1998, he went 2.18 ERA, 2.36 ERA, 1.56 ERA, 1.63 ERA, 2.27 ERA, 2.2 ERA, and 2.22 ERA. That
Damn.
is 6 straight years. Seven. Sorry, that
Holy
was 7 years. 7 years.
damn.
And
Fucking
you can look at any past Cy Young winner, and Greg probably any of those numbers beats 90% of the last Cy Young winners with
with the
those numbers.
1.8.
Well, he had a 1.56 and 1.63. He had a 2.18.
Jesus. Damn.
Yeah. His highest in that 7-year span, sorry, was 2.36 for 6 or 7
Holy
seasons
shit.
straight.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
He went
That's
on to
fucking
win
ridiculous.
4 straight Cy Youngs from 1992 to 1996, meaning 2.27, 2.20, and 2.22 was too high of an ERA to win Cy Young. He could have very easily won those years too. So, but 4 straight Cy Youngs, that's never been done. I think, right? No one's won 4 straight other than him, right?
No, God no.
Yeah.
I don't think so. At least maybe someone way back when, but not in recent memory.
So those are crazy stats, but these are some fun ones about Greg Maddux. Okay. So he has 13 complete games under 100 pitches in his career. Okay. So for those of you who know baseball, when anyone throws a complete game, it's usually they're getting up into the 110s, the 120s, even if they're completely dominant, right? 13 games in his career where he was under 100 pitches, including a 77 pitch complete game and a 76 pitch complete game. Absurd. He has an
Shit.
83% first strike count percentage as a starter. First pitch strike is very important to get ahead. 83% of the time he had a first pitch strike against his batters for his
That's
career.
insane.
Uh, to get a gauge of how accurate he was as a pitcher, most guys, it's dread as a pitcher to go down 3-0. You don't want to be completely behind in the count like that. He had 5,008 innings. Okay, get a gauge of how many pitches that is, right? And how many batters he faced. So triple that, at least, probably way more than that. So, in at least 15,000 batters, he only faced a 3-0 count 133 times.
That's
That's
fucking insane.
meaning on his walks, he most of the time, if not all the time, he also was fighting in the count. It wasn't just like a 4-0 walk. And
That's ridiculous.
there are elite pitchers now who regularly throw 4-0 walks even when they're dominating.
Right.
And I don't think it's any argument to say that he was the most accurate pitcher ever. I think some people just prefer more dominance more than accuracy. He's also the greatest fielding pitcher of all time. He has 18 gold gloves. No one even remotely comes close.
No one will ever come close to that.
I mean, Arenado is what, like 7 or 8?
No, Arenado's more than that. But
11,
I mean,
10? He won't
fucking
get 18.
18 Coke. No, God, no.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
18. I mean, almost every year of
Holy
his career, he
fuck.
had a gold glove. He was close to a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. He was an 8-time All-Star, which is way too low. He should have been an All-Star way more. He's a 1995 World Series champion and a 4-time ERA title holder, which means in those 6 or 7 years I just said, 3 years out of those 7, someone beat him, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
He is part of the
Sorry, continue.
He is part. I'm just like going through his sheet right now. I'm just enjoying myself here. He is part of the best 3-headed pitching staff of all time and the best 4-headed pitching staff of all time. Because when he went to the Braves, think about going into a playoff series against these pitchers. Okay, Joey, you're number 1. You're going against prime Greg Maddux. Okay, you're like, okay, that's like if Corbin's at his best, maybe he comes close to what Greg Maddux is doing, right? Then you have to face a prime John Smoltz, okay, in
Damn.
game 2.
Holy-
So another Corbin. Okay. And then game 3, you're facing Tom Glavine in his prime.
Damn. Holy fuck.
And your number 4, you're like, finally, we
Bro.
made it through all of the three-headed monster. You have Steve Avery, who is
Damn.
an elite guy. I mean, that would be a
Yeah.
number 1 on any other team. So
Right. Wow.
best pitching staff of all time. Not even close. I mean, they're all Hall of Famers. Like, they're all in their primes. So that was
Yeah.
when they won the World Series.
Yeah.
He has an average of 1 walk per 9 through his prime, meaning every outing he had, he averaged 1 or a little less or a little more a game. 1 walk, which is, I mean,
That's
that's
fucking ridiculous.
no one
That's
will
insane.
ever and did ever come close to that. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, Corbin. I use Corbin because he's pretty, I guess, unanimously known as one of the best pitchers in this generation right now. And it's easy to shit on his statistics, but his statistics are the best right now.
Yeah.
And Maddox makes them look terrible. I mean, it's ridiculous. So now I want to get into the stories. I know I've been ranting about his stats for a while, but this is where it really gets fun for me. I love baseball in general, but I love things like this. These are the it's called the Chuck Norris stories I was talking about. I'm just gonna list them. Okay, so he remembers every pitch he's ever thrown. Okay, so I have a quote right here. When he was talking to the Dodgers general manager at one point late in his career, they basically, what they used to do is print out pitch by pitch scenarios before we had like Statcast and all that, so they could just watch. And it would be, say, Maddox is pitching against Ken Griffey Jr. The whole, I guess, at bat would be on that sheet of paper, what pitch it was, where it was in the count, what happened, how hard the ball was hit off the bat, stuff like that. Um, Maddox walked up to the general manager. I'm going to read it. He says, "I'm not sure these are right." Former Dodgers manager Ned Colletti said Maddox ran a finger down one of the sheets representing thousands of pitches, and points to one pitch in a game years earlier. He said, "This one right here. It says I threw Tony Gwynn a fastball. I'm pretty sure it was a changeup." Down
Fuck.
thousands of at bats.
What the
Another
fuck?
reason people think Greg Maddux is one of the best pitchers ever, if not the best, is he studied the game more than anyone ever had. He was a nerd. I mean, literally, he looked like a nerd. He didn't look like an athlete. These are such good stories. In 1994, the Mets picked up signs and knew almost every pitch that he was throwing. Maddox's catcher at the time, I didn't find out what the guy's name was, but Maddox's catcher at the time obviously wanted to change the signs. Maddox refused and threw a one-hit complete shutout game. He just
Damn.
refused. He
That's a
refused to change the size. He's just like, I don't give a fuck. They knew a pitch was coming.
it's a flex.
In 2008, Maddox and Roger Clemens were tied at 354 wins. And Maddox the day before, or sorry, the start before, had thrown his final career game. And because Maddox wanted to have more than Roger Clemens, he played one more game. He cut in the rotation, told his manager he was throwing that day, and got his 740th. Sorry, it was his 740th career start, but he got his 355th win to pass Roger Clemens just because he didn't want to be tied with him.
That's such a
He
that's
allowed
funny as
one
fuck
run in
actually.
6 innings at like you're
Damn.
like as like a 42-year-old or something. Um,
Damn.
this is a fun one. He's quoted saying, "We might have to call an ambulance for the first base coach." In the dugout, it was his off day, one of his off days. He said that because after noticing a small adjustment, the batter during the game, he noticed like a small shift in the batter's stance. Before he said we need to call an ambulance for the first base coach, everyone was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" The next pitch, the batter hit a line drive directly at the first base coach's chest. It hit him in the chest, and he wasn't seriously injured or anything, but it hit him directly in the chest. And Maddox said,
Wow.
"We need to call it." And like 15 guys all heard him say it. And they sound so fake, but they're so real.
Right.
Um, I think this is my favorite one. So Maddox, when earlier in his career, was getting pulled by Bobby Cox, who's considered one of, if not the greatest baseball coach of all time. Um, when you're young and a very veteran coach comes out to the mound and says, "Hey, give me the ball. You're done." You don't say no. You say yes, sir, and you walk off the mound. So Maddox was getting pulled out of the game late in the game, where Bobby Cox was demanding Maddox give him the ball. Maddox refused and told Cox he would get the next batter to pop out to third on the third pitch. And on that third pitch, after setting up two outside pitches, he pulled the batter all the way through the zone with a slider, got him to chase an outside slider, and got him to pop up directly into the third baseman's glove. The guy didn't even have to move. Uh,
Damn,
changing
that's
speeds.
fucking ballsy as shit.
I'm just gonna keep going. These are so good. I mean,
Yeah,
changing speeds. Maddox would okay. This is like little league shit, and I love this. Maddox would regularly change the speeds of his pitches by a few miles per hour every once in a while just to fuck with hitters. So he averaged like a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. If he knew someone was like hitting well for the day, he would literally throw his fastball 89. He'd throw his changeup 79 instead of 82. He would throw his slider like less or more. Like he had that much control of his pitches. He would just change. And the batters had, I mean, you time a pitcher up and you have no idea how to adjust to that. Like this
right.
guy was a genius. Um,
It's
he
fucking ridiculous.
he would also remember the exact sequences he threw to batters years before, therefore doing the exact same thing to them to get them out or changing it up if it didn't work on them before. So he would say, "Oh, Ken Griffey Jr. again. I remember I threw slider inside, two seamer outside, sinker down, or something like that," and he would throw it again if it worked because he knows that
Right,
that's what their weaknesses were.
right.
Um, he would watch opposing batting practice, and when people would ask him why, he said he wanted to know what players were working on to attack their weaknesses. I love that, to
Damn.
attack their weaknesses. That is one of the most badass things I've ever heard. He's just like watching them practice to fuck with them. Like,
Yeah.
um, a guy named, I only have a few more, but these are so great. I got to keep saying them. Doug Glanville, he's a leadoff hitter for the Phillies. I don't know who he is, but he was like a small, speedy guy as their center fielder. He said, Maddox figured out that when I let off the game, I would be in the batter's box and also look down after my stretching routine. So one game, by the time I looked up, the ball was halfway home, strike one. Guy was always 10 steps ahead of you, always. Meaning the guy always stepped in the box and looked down really quick to like pat his, bat on the plate. And he had already thrown a strike because he was in the box. Like these are things normal pitchers don't do. He studied each hitter individually.
That's fucking
Um,
crazy.
yeah, that actually was the last bit of Greg Maddox's story I had, but just a complete and utter anomaly to the game of baseball, and I don't think there will ever be another player like Greg Maddox. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
mean, dude, the fact that you can remember like, I mean, hundreds of thousands of pitches and remember
mhm.
like, oh yeah, I don't think that was a fastball, it was a changeup. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
To be
bro, and
considered
just
the best pitcher between um who are John Smoltz, Tom Glavine, and Steve Avery, all in their
right.
primes is like crazy. I didn't even know they're all the same age. I
It's
mean,
ridiculous, dude.
some people think Tom Glavine is in that conversation for greatest pitcher ever. And
Yeah,
Greg Maddox
yeah,
was the
no,
number one.
yeah, no, no chance.
But
Fucking, it's like they
that,
played in Chicago.
huh?
Yeah,
Wait, what'd you say?
I'd say it sucks they played in Chicago.
It sucks they didn't play in Chicago.
Yeah, he did play in Chicago.
Oh, my hearing is
Fucking,
clearly affected during this pod.
yeah,
No,
it's
I know he. Although all of those like those crazy things, most of them were on the Braves. His stats
no, no,
dramatically decreased once he was back on the Cubs.
no, I know, because I saw when because he went from Chicago to Atlanta, and he was like, he like just started his peak at the end, like in Chicago, and then
His
just went to
first,
Atlanta. I was like,
his 218 1992 season was on the Cubs, and then the next 5 years were on the Braves.
that's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Fucking, I'm gonna dive into a different kind of story that's a little less player oriented, and it's actually about the origin of the Milwaukee Brewers mascot, Bernie Brewer. Um, so I'm assuming most fans didn't know this. I didn't even know this honestly till like I had to do a project about the Milwaukee Brewers, and I found out about this and I was like, holy shit, I never knew. Um, so for those that don't know, now the Brewers Stadium is called American Family Field, and before, in 2001 it was Miller Park, and even before that it was Milwaukee County Stadium. So the Milwaukee Brewers actually in 1969 transitioned from the Seattle Pilots to the Milwaukee Brewers, and um, because of that, there was a huge change, and obviously a lot more baseball fans in the city of Milwaukee, and specifically the general manager for the Brewers actually moved from. I think he actually was on the Seattle team before and transitioned to the Brewers, and he knew a guy named Milt Mason, who was just a fan of the Brewers, and this fan wanted to get more people to come out to the game, and so he made a vow to the general manager that he was going to live at the very top of Milwaukee County Stadium, on top of their scoreboard in a trailer, until the Milwaukee Brewers drew a sellout crowd. Um, which is fucking. I mean, imagine somebody doing that today. I mean, they'd get slandered
Oh
for
yeah, like a tree
like
hugger.
yeah, it's so strange, but it's so cool. And I didn't even know this. I was learning a little bit more about this today, even. So his trailer had a color television, a gas stove, a refrigerator, an exercise bike, and a bathtub. And then along with that, he had two telephones. One was for the fans, and then one was for the media. Like, imagine just like, I'm going for like an exercise on my bike and then, oh shit, I got a fan. Hold up. Hey, what's up, Bob? How's it going? Like, da da da. Yeah, like I'm still up here. Like, yeah, like come out to the game. Like, da da da. Like, and then just being like, yeah, like Rob from the media, just like asking him questions, like while he's cooking like a steak or some shit.
Right.
Like, it's fucking ridiculous. And it sucked because the original, his original goal was for a sellout crowd, and then, when he thought that was unlikely, he lowered it to 40,000, which is
Right.
pretty much the same fucking thing.
Right.
Um, but then, he was there for 40 fucking days, just living in a trailer on top of fucking MLB Stadium,
Did he finally get
and
the 40?
on
I
top,
don't know how this ends.
yeah, so finally, after the 40 days, and they get 40,000 people, he slides down a rope and it burns his hand in the process of him sliding down this rope. And that was the origin of Bernie Brewer. And unfortunately, with that, Milt Mason, he actually passed away a few years later with cancer. And that's how Bernie Brewer kind of came to be. And if you look at the old mascot, it was actually really fucking creepy.
Really? I
I
want
did
to look
not
it up.
like um but and that was kind of the beginning of like the chalet that's like in Milwaukee now.
Hmm.
They constructed that in County Stadium to where like whenever a player hits a home run, they like go down the chalet. And there's a little bit more things that's like really cool with that. So that was in 1970. So fast forward 15 years from now, Bernie Brewer was actually evicted because they rebuilt the bleachers, and so they just completely got rid of Bernie Brewer, like in the entirety. Then they bring him back in 1993, and then him and I didn't even know this. I guess he had a little sidekick, Bonnie Brewer, would run
So it was
onto
more
the.
than a sidekick. It was like a side piece. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who his main girl is, but I mean, good for Bernie, man.
yeah.
Uh, fucking so Bonnie Brewer would go onto the field and swipe like dirt off the bases, and then she would give the third base coach like a kiss on the cheek and like swat like his ass. Like, what? Imagine being a manager and just like, or being a third base coach and then just seeing some random ass fucking mascot going up to you, like kiss you and then slap your ass. Like, I don't even know how the fuck I'd feel about that.
I mean,
That's
I'd,
such a
I'd feel pretty good, honestly.
I mean, think about that happening in 2023 for a second. Like, I can't even.
uh, Gender roles being reversed. Oh gosh. Let's get political on this
um,
podcast.
oh yeah, let's really dive into all of our political opinions. I'm sure people would love hearing that.
Oh yeah.
Um, no, but and then the whole Bernie Brewer like going down a slide thing was it's been a thing ever since, and I just thought it was cool. And um, he actually worked for the Brewers like during I think it was like spring training. Um, like a season or two after that. But like,
Cool.
just imagine living on top of like Milwaukee County Stadium. Just, I mean, to me and you,
Pretty
I'm sure it'd be
fucking
fucking
cool.
cool as shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh, another ball game. Let's go see
Oh
how my team's doing.
darn. I
Uh,
gotta watch Robin Yount hit another home run. God, fuck that guy.
that's facts. Oh my God, fucking. No, that was before Young, I think. I
Yeah,
think that had to
Yount
be
was
before
80s,
Young.
right?
Yeah, I don't remember his rookie year, but I'm assuming because I mean
I'm sure it was.
he was younger in the '82 World Series. Um, and then it's funny. There is actually another thing so with Bernie Bird that I've never heard of this before. So I'm reading this straight off an article. So don't fucking quote me on this. But apparently, in 1973, the Brewers were like shitting on the Rangers, and so the Rangers and it was 17-2, and the Rangers manager accused Bernie of participating in a spying scheme. So he was, and I guess, bro, it sounds straight like the Houston Astros.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, the mascot had binoculars, and
Oh shit.
um, he would clap. So I want to read this right. When a player would, he would relay this the catcher sign. So he would read the catcher sign, and then Bernie would either fold for a fastball, like fold his arms for a fastball, hang at his side for a breaking ball, clap if it was like a
What?
high inside pitch, like. And
Is this real?
there's
Like
been like a
they were actually stealing the signs?
so this was what was told, and then I was
Okay.
reading more of this, and I guess apparently the manager was just using that as an excuse for his like rookie pitcher.
Mm.
Um, so like he was like, I apologize to whoever it was, and the guy that was the mascot at the time was like, dude, like I was like a goody two shoes, like I didn't even know like what a fastball was, like I like there's no fucking way I could have done that, which I thought was funny as shit, but I didn't know that Bernie Brewer like even post like the origin of the mascot had so much like history.
Yeah.
Um, so I just thought that was a cool piece for all Brewers fans to hear about.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the best thing you're gonna hear all year about the Brewers before they crash and burn. The shitty team they
Hey,
are.
we're second in the division, man. We'll see.
I love that. I love hearing that. We're second to the division to the Pirates. Yeah, good job.
I mean, you're third. What does that make you guys? Even shittier.
A team that wasn't supposed to contend this year. We got nothing to prove.
hey, a lot of people put us at second in the division, so
That's true.
where
That's
we're
true.
at right now.
All right,
Let's
we're
talk
getting
about the
on
Cincinnati Red Stockings.
the Red Stockings, the Seven Cities of Sins, or what is it? Is that it? The Seven
The
Cities of
seven.
Cincy?
Oh shit. Yeah, I think so.
We're going on an hour here, so I want this last story to be pretty compact, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Sorry, you guy out of here. But basically, this last story, neither of us knew about this, but we wanted to throw it in because we want to do a story for everyone. There are plenty of stories about the Reds. Therefore, in the future, I would personally love to talk about Pete Rose, one of the biggest impacts on baseball in general. Just his story is
Should be in the
amazing.
Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Fuck the MLB
But
for not putting him in the Hall of Fame.
we don't have a lot of time. So what I am going to do is talk about the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings. And would you believe it if I said they are the best team to ever play in the MLB? In professional baseball, not the MLB. The MLB wasn't formed yet. 1869, the Cincinnati Red Stockings are the only team in history to go undefeated for an entire season. Okay. So this is the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings. The 1868 Cincinnati Red Stockings, formed by Harry Wright, who was the center fielder, the manager, and the founder of the team. Okay, he founded them.
What a flex.
In 1868, they went 16-1. They didn't play a lot of games because they had to literally find teams, and they would have gone 17-0. But the Washington Nationals, which is still the Washington Nationals, basically they were the only team to beat them that year. But then they went out and found some more players, and they went. What they did to find more players is they didn't just find the best players in Cincinnati. Harry Wright went out and found the best both cricket and new baseball players he could find, because this is when it was transitioning from cricket to baseball. And because baseball was hardly invented before this. I mean, barely 10 years before this, baseball was invented. By who, Joey?
Dude, it sucks. I don't know. Now I feel
Abner
like I
Doubleday.
never should have loved baseball.
You should know that. You should know that. Abner Doubleday. Civil
Yeah,
War.
no, disappointing.
Learn about it. Um, so he went out and found all these amazing players. Opening day, the Red Stockings won their first game 45 to 9. And they continued to do that. They averaged beating teams by more than 20 runs for the whole season. And they to end their season, uh shoot. They went wait, how many games, Joey? How many games did they win that
They
season? I
went
don't have it written.
they went 57 and
As a
0.
yeah, 57 and 0.
57 and fucking 0.
Their last game was they beat the New York Mutuals, which turned into the New York Mets later on. That same group of organizers, but they beat them 17-8 in the last game of the season, which was one of their lowest win by ratios for the whole year, which is just hilarious to me. So
That's
they went
fucking
57 and
ridiculous.
0. Yeah, and I have it written down here: a low scoring affair, 17-8. So, and I think this guy that I'm going to talk about here might have a bid for the best player of all time. George Wright's, Harry Wright's brother, his younger brother Harry, or sorry, Harry's younger brother George Wright. He was the shortstop. Okay, George hit for that season. He hit 630 with 49 home runs, and he averaged 6 runs a game on his
Oh
own.
my,
I want to know
that's
what his
fucking
WAR is,
insane.
dude. I
That's
wonder if he's in
fast.
Baseball Reference, dude. Can you give that a
Is he
look
the
real quick,
goat? Is he
dude?
the goat?
Trout or George Wright, dude? I don't know.
I got
Um,
George Wright.
honestly, the I bet on Trout today. He fucking let me down. Anyways, um,
Dude,
Harry and George Wright
uh,
went on, huh?
so I have his. Dude, I don't have it from that season, is the problem.
He was still considered the best player at that in that era, though.
Yeah, he had a. His batting average is. So this is 1871. 413, a 1.078 OPS. Said he only played 16 games, had 11
they
RBIs.
they like disbanded that season, so maybe that's why. Um, and that leads me. I mean, I wish. Can you imagine what his OPS was if he hit 630 with
Oh yeah,
49 home runs on only 57 games? He had 49 home runs, Joey.
I'm just looking at this picture of this guy. That's fucking scary.
Does he look like a goober?
Dude, his haircut looks like the fucking like Grinch when he like shaved the middle of his head. Sorry, disrespect to any George Wright fans out there.
Big George
Might
Wright
be,
guys
might
out
be.
there, yeah. Probably the entire
Yeah,
city of Cincy, 7 cities that
yeah,
is.
that's facts. Sorry, George Wright's the
So
goat.
they got George Wright jerseys. So they went on Harry and George Wright. That wasn't the first, or that wasn't basically the start of the Reds. That organization is actually now known as the Atlanta Braves. Harry and George Wright went on to found the Boston Braves, which then went to a terrible city, Milwaukee, and then years later went to Atlanta. Um, but yes, so they founded the Braves, which is fun to think about.
That's fucking dope. I mean,
What a cool story.
who knew the Cincinnati Red Stockings could be when I saw that they were 57 0, I was like, wait, I'm definitely reading this wrong. Or like, this is definitely fucking fake.
It's
And
so
then I
dumb,
was
dude.
like, wait,
They average
bro,
like 40 runs a game, dude.
I just imagine it being like, it'd be like in today if like a bunch of like D1 college players to start playing, and then you got fucking like your local shitty ass high school, like
That's
as
basically
like
what it
every other
was, though.
team.
It wasn't like
I know,
these other teams they were playing. The only other teams at that point were just like the best in the area. Like the
right?
Nationals were just the best in the area, but like this guy just recruited people from all over, and like, dude, that's like little league shit, bro. This guy averaged 6 runs a game.
Why does that
Like,
remind me of like the fucking bench warmers, like the being the owner and being like a player and like a manager,
dude,
like
he's a center fielder, yeah.
yeah, that gives me like hella bench warmer
Dude,
vibes.
so what was his name? George Wright, the best player, made $1,400 a year, and that was the highest paid player ever in baseball history at that time.
Get shit on, George. I get paid more than you. Get fucked.
I barely do, dude.
Yeah, it's facts. Oh my god.
All right, you about ready to wrap
Okay.
this storybook up, Joey?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, thank you. Thank you for everyone listening to this podcast. We appreciate it. Thank you to tune in to episode 5. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at _Central Pod. Just one final thing to wrap it up for all you fans out there. Mike Trout is still the fucking GOAT. So, peace.
I'm more of a George Wright guy. Peace.